If it's Friday night, say yeah, for it's another edition of Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. Joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. Apologies for the delay. MF had an issue he needed to take care of. Hopefully, everything's all squared away now, so we can move forth with tonight's show. Michael Bullock will be coming in sometime later on. He had a commitment of his own that he needed to take care of. So hopefully we'll get him in, and when he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. So we have of course, now that football season is over and all that, we're back to the regular dockets now, which means we'll be getting into hot stove stuff, when it comes to the major sports. And unfortunately, we have to get into some hard time stuff. And tonight's no exception. But thankfully, this is a hard time story that actually has an ending, which I'm hopeful of. And of course, we'll get into the NBA. So with all that being said, let's start with our first story of the night. Kyler Murray, reigning Heisman Trophy winner, announced that he will commit himself to pursuing the NFL instead of a Major League Baseball career. He said in a statement, moving forward, I am firmly and fully committing my life and time to becoming an NFL quarterback. Murray starred in both football and baseball during his time at Oklahoma. He led the Sooners to a 12-1 record and a college football playoff berth after throwing for 4,053 yards and 40 touchdowns, in addition to 892 rushing yards and 11 scores. The Oakland Athletics selected Murray with the 9th pick of the 2018 MLB draft after posting a .296 batting average and 10 home runs as a center fielder for Oklahoma's baseball team. Per ESPN's Jeff Passan, Murray will return $1.29 million of the $1.5 million signing bonus money the A's gave him. He will also forfeit the remaining $3.16 million of his signing bonus due on March 1st. The A's will retain Murray's rights but won't receive a compensatory draft pick following his decision. In January, it became apparent to the A's that Murray would choose to pursue football, and he later declared to enter the 2019 NFL Draft. Major League Baseball players are scheduled to report to spring training. Well, they already have. It was last week, February 15th. The NFL Combine is set to take place this Tuesday, February 26th, at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. And Murray also said, I eagerly await the opportunity to continue to prove to NFL decision makers that I am the franchise quarterback in this draft. Well, with all that, I got to say this was the right move. I mean, yes, he was a solid baseball player at Oklahoma, and the Oakland A's are an up-and-coming team. But at the same time, after what he did for Oklahoma this past season, winning the Heisman Trophy and leading Oklahoma to a college football playoff berth, I think that young man has what it takes to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL in the near future. Now, as the old saying goes, nothing happens overnight. And I don't know if he's going to be an overnight success or not. But what I do know is that he will definitely be the future of a franchise, especially when a current franchise quarterback is ready to hang it up once and for all. I don't know where he'll end up. I don't know how high the stock's going to be. I imagine he's going to be a top 10 pick at the least. Maybe he could be the number 1 overall pick. You never know. There is a very realistic possibility of that. But I just honestly don't know where he'll end up. That's the $1 million question. Where's he going to end up? I don't know. But what I do know is that young man, after what he did at Oklahoma this past season and winning the Heisman, he has, without a doubt, he has what it takes to be a franchise quarterback for years and years to come. So I'm not going to get too much more into this. So MF, come on in. Kyler Murray made his decision. Going pro. How high is this stock going to be?
I mean, the stock's gonna be very high on Kyler Murray. Definitely one of the top college football players that we had. Yes, he's walking away from a big contract, guaranteed money in Major League Baseball. However, his heart, and I think you can really see it, is that his heart and his love is football. So for him to pass up on the money and basically say no thank you to baseball, that I want to be an NFL player, that's a testament to him, you know. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does. I know he's going to participate in the combine that's coming up in about a couple of weeks in Indianapolis. And actually, from what I know, he's not throwing at the combine, which is very interesting. But not every quarterback does throw there, so understandable. They'll have their pro day a little bit later on. I think it's later in March, right before the NFL draft, which is in late April. Uh, so, I mean, there's going to be some opportunities there for Kyler Murray to impress all the NFL scouts and all the teams that definitely is going to be looking for a quarterback. Kyler Murray right now, if you really look at it with the wants and the needs, there are 3 teams right now that I could see him land, which is in the top 10. And you know, the Arizona Cardinals, even though they did take Josh Rosen a year ago with the first round draft pick, the new head coach of Arizona is very high on Kyler Murray. As a matter of fact, he was actually one of the coaches from Oklahoma, and actually was with Kyler Murray during that year when they signed him. He was very high on him, and there is some rumblings. I'm not going to say if it's true or not, but there are some rumblings about possibly Kyler Murray being the #1 overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft, a la what happened to Baker Mayfield when Cleveland out of nowhere picked Baker as their #1 overall pick. Hoping and praying that they actually strike gold like Cleveland did a year ago with Baker Mayfield, that turned Cleveland from a laughable organization to really one of the teams that I definitely have my eye on in 2019, to say the very least, Anthony. So hopefully, that's the hope that Arizona's hoping, that lightning will strike twice, that if Kyler Murray is the #1 pick, that he will be like a Baker Mayfield and turn the team around and at least make them a lot more respectable in the NFL next year. So we'll wait and see what happens. There's still at least a couple of months before the draft, and we'll get into that once we get closer to the combine. So, like I said, the combine is about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks away. So we'll go from there. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Actually, I'm at the combines this Tuesday, the 26th.
Oh, okay. There you go. Stand corrected.
Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and I couldn't agree more with what you just said. So everything you said, spot on, without a doubt. And speaking of the Cleveland Browns, they are the subject of our next story here. Find it here. Okay. The Cleveland Browns signed troubled running back Kareem Hunt on Monday, February 12th. A source told ESPN's Adam Schefter that Hunt signed a 1-year contract. He will be a restricted free agent after the contract expires, meaning the Browns will control his rights after next season. Now, as we all know, the Kansas City Chiefs released Hunt in November after video surfaced that showed him shoving and kicking a woman last February at his residence in Cleveland. He was neither arrested nor faced charges for that February incident. He was also accused of punching a man in June. The NFL placed Hunt on the commissioner's exempt list shortly before he was released. He is not eligible to play until the NFL completes its investigation into the incidents and a decision on potential discipline is made. So MF, I mean, you just said it. The Cleveland Browns, you know, they won the hearts of all of us during the regular season. They went from 0 in 2017 to, I believe, 7 wins this year, and just nearly on the cusp of postseason, but just missed it if it wasn't for that opening day tie against Pittsburgh. But Baker Mayfield, that great young talent, and now you got Kareem Hunt. Wow. What do you think now?
Like I told you, Anthony, Cleveland could be that team that I really going to have my eye on this upcoming season. I said it with Cleveland that, obviously we didn't think they were going to be this good this fast. I think that's the biggest thing. We all thought that Cleveland was going to be a laughingstock. We thought Cleveland was going to be, once again, that team that was going to suck and was going to stink. And all of a sudden, they opened a lot of people's eyes in the NFL. Not just myself, not just you, Michael Bullock, and Derek Ferreira, all the guys, everybody, even my own colleagues, the 2184 crew, we all were like, wow, Cleveland is for real. And it's only going to get better. They got a very good defense. Baker Mayfield proved to be a really good quarterback. You got a great young receiving core with Jarvis Landry leading the way. Now you got a good you got a good organization. As long as they don't mess it up and put some good pieces around them, now they solidified themselves a two-headed monster with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Because if you really think about it, Kareem Hunt, without a doubt, was the most dominating running back in the NFL before all the trouble happened for him. If it wasn't for the suspension and everything else, who knows? We'd be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs not only being in the Super Bowl, but I think they could have been the world champions this year. I truly believe if Kareem Hunt would have played in the AFC Championship game, the Patriots would not have won that game. I'm sorry. I think the Kareem Hunt absence actually hurt Kansas City. If Hunt was there, there would have been no way the Patriots would have beaten the Chiefs, in my mind. Kansas City would have gone to the Super Bowl, and I believe they would have won it all. So that's the difference of what one player can make on one organization. Kareem Hunt will be healthy because he hasn't gone through the wear and tear, even though I know what happened and what he did was really horrible. Like, it was bad. It looked horrible. Cleveland's taking a huge gamble. This is a huge PR hit they're going to take. But if Hunt delivers on the field like I know he can, then this will easily soothe away everything that happened to him. Obviously, he needs to go through the process, which means he's probably going to be suspended for 6 games to start the season. So obviously, they got to weather through that storm first, and then once he goes back, they got to ease him into rotation. Hopefully, Cleveland will be good enough that if they're viable enough to make the playoffs, that if Hunt gets in there and he's the Kareem Hunt of old, look out, guys. Now you got Cleveland as a danger team. I don't think they'll win the division because there's too many good teams in that division with the Ravens and with the Steelers there, but they definitely could make some noise in the wild card picture. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Cleveland's taking a huge gamble. This could be a high risk, high reward if everything pans out. So we'll see. Anthony, it's yours.
I had the date wrong. It was Monday, February 11th, not February 12th. But nonetheless, the Browns could use Hunt's help. Signing the free agent, which was at a cost that has little to do with dollars. Owner Jimmy Haslam signing off on Hunt means he is willing to take a PR hit that might linger for a long time. Hunt, as like I just said, is currently on the commissioner's exempt list. Cannot play while on the list, even though the Browns signed him. An NFL investigation into Hunt ongoing. He will most certainly face a suspension when the NFL completes its investigation. The Browns, before I get into the Browns, 23 years old, Hunt has plenty of football left in him after posting 2,984 yards rushing and receiving and 25 touchdowns in 27 games before his release. The Browns signing Hunt, to me, makes sense for a lot of reasons. If they believe he's worthy of a second chance. Browns general manager John Dorsey drafted Hunt when Dorsey was running the front office at Kansas City, so there's familiarity. Keeping Hunt close to his family and support group while he attempts to restructure his life would obviously be ideal. Signing Hunt needs to be that decision with a long-term vision. This 2019 season could be a wash since the running back faces a certain suspension. Securing a spot for him on the active roster when eligible, then easing him into action behind Chubb and Johnson would be a logical course of action. The football side of it isn't difficult to gauge with Hunt. Everyone knows he can play in the NFL. Managing the fan bases and the public's relation to signing Hunt is the big unknown. With Hunt's ties to Northeast Ohio, some of the anger might be softened if the Browns decide to add him to the roster. Of course, the video of Hunt assaulting a woman will never go away, nor will the tough questions if the Browns, now that the Browns have signed him. The decision makers are the 32 NFL owners. They were the 32 NFL owners, the same men who refused to give Ray Rice a second chance after a video showed the former running back striking his future wife. Rice was near age 30 when he was released by the Ravens and likely near the end of his playing career. With Hunt, the situation is different from a football perspective, but not from PR and the negative type that will come from signing him. If the Browns can take that PR hit, Hunt will get his second chance. And the Browns, without a doubt, they were that team that gave him that chance. So Cleveland most certainly will be, a dark horse team, like MF said. 7-8-1 this past season, just missed the playoffs. And who knows? This could be the beginning of bigger and better things for them. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Cleveland, we're going to have a lot to say about them, I would have to say about 6 months from now, come probably like the end of August, early September, whenever we do our NFL preview show, because we're going to have a lot to say about them. So that's all we can say on that. So now we move on to the next big story from the NFL, another hot stove story, and what a big one this is. Joe Flacco traded to the Denver Broncos. Wow. Who saw that coming? Let's get the story here. Okay. Baltimore Ravens traded former Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco to the Denver Broncos. The trade cannot officially be processed until the new league year begins on March 13th. The teams are prohibited from commenting on the deal or the terms. When the deal is completed, it likely will be for a mid-round pick. The agreement means that Baltimore is officially committing to Lamar Jackson as its quarterback. When the deal is completed, the Ravens will save $10.5 million in cap space. However, they will carry $16 million in dead money on their 2019 cap. Meanwhile, the Broncos, who have the 10th overall pick in this year's draft, are addressing their biggest need as the NFL's offseason quarterback carousel is beginning to spin. Trades between Baltimore and Denver commenced last Monday and culminated last Wednesday morning when the Broncos agreed to the deal for Flacco, the MVP of Super Bowl 47. This trade is the first domino to fall this offseason, with other quarterbacks such as Nick Foles, Ryan Tannehill, Tyrod Taylor, and Blake Bortles expected to change teams. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Washington Redskins, and Miami Dolphins are among the teams expected to add new quarterbacks. The demand at the position is one reason Denver pounced on Flacco. The Broncos began to study him during Super Bowl week, sources told ESPN, and agreed to a deal before the combine. Flacco, age 34, has no more guaranteed money on his contract. His contract carries base salaries of $18.5 million for 2019, $20.25 million in 2020, and $24.25 million in 2021. New Broncos coach Vic Fangio was in Baltimore for Flacco's first 2 seasons, so he knows what he'll be getting. Former Broncos executive Gary Kubiak also was a noted Flacco fan, and his opinions were a strong starting point to selling Denver on the deal. The trade means the Broncos are moving on from quarterback Case Keenum, who started for the team last season after signing a 2-year, $36 million contract in free agency. He is due $18 million in 2019 with just $7 million guaranteed. The Broncos will carry $10 million in dead money if they cut him. Keenum tied for the second most interceptions in the league this past season with 15, and his 6.6 yards per attempt was 29th. This marks the first trade for new Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta, who replaced Ozzie Newsome at the conclusion of last season. Denver does have 2 fourth-round picks in its own and the one acquired from the Houston Texans in exchange for wide receiver Demaryius Thomas. Whatever the compensation turns out to be, Flacco will be playing in Denver, where he had a huge role in the Mile High Miracle in January 2013, a 70-yard touchdown pass to Jacoby Jones that sent an AFC divisional playoff game into overtime. The Ravens went on to win the game in double overtime, followed by victories in the AFC Championship game and Super Bowl 47. Broncos executive John Elway has consistently said since season's end that he would consider any and all options to repair the team's quarterback struggles. The Broncos used 4 different starting quarterbacks over the last 2 seasons and cut Paxton Lynch, their first-round pick in 2016 last summer. So thoughts on all this? Well, huge move for the Denver Broncos. I mean, Case Keenum, after that magical year he had in Minnesota in 2017, major disappointment this past year. And now you got Flacco coming in, a proven franchise quarterback, a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, who had many great years in Baltimore. This past year, far and away his worst year. And then they handed the control of the team over to Lamar Jackson. More than capable, because we all know Lamar Jackson, one of the main reasons why the Ravens, got into the playoffs out of nowhere, where they looked like they were dead to rights. But I think Flacco could be that guy that could get the Denver Broncos back in the postseason contention, without question. Another team that's got bright young talent. Of course, that defense, we all know what that defense can do. Von Miller and company, without a doubt. And I think the Denver Broncos have a chance to, be one of those dark horses in the AFC. Only time will tell to see what they're going to do. See if they can. I don't think they can win the division. I think they're going to be a wild card team because it's between KC and the Chargers when it comes to the West, without a doubt. Denver could, keyword could, find its way into wild card contention. I could see this team being maybe. I could see them, getting back to winning ways this year after that rare losing season, their first in many years. And I could see this team maybe going 9-7, 10-6. Maybe that's the best I could see it. So, but we'll see. But I love the move for them. I think that Flacco can be that guy that can get Denver back in the playoff contention. So, nothing more to say on that. So MF, Joe Flacco, now the head man with the Denver Broncos, now the quarterback after the Ravens gave the control to Lamar Jackson. So can he get Denver back into contention? I think he can.
The way I see it, they're going back to the way that they won Super Bowl 50, Anthony. And what they had was an elite quarterback, a good running back, what they got with Royce Freeman, good wide receivers with that they still need to work on, a tight end, and they still got a vaunted defense. That's the formula that they needed. The one thing that they were lacking was a really good quarterback. And don't get me wrong, there was a few guys there that were there, but they weren't elite. They weren't no good. They weren't, I don't think they were NFL starting quarterback types. Sorry, I disagree. But I do believe now they do have a legit quarterback. They got an elite quarterback, a very good quarterback, a guy who's won the Super Bowl, who brought him to the dance, who knows what it is to be in big game situations, who's not afraid of the moment. And trust me, we all know there was that one year where Denver and Baltimore played against each other in Mile High, and we all remember how that turned out. Baltimore won, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. They won Super Bowl 48, 47 that year. We should know we did the game. We were there.
Awesome.
So, a rare screaming Anthony Florio moment in that game, if you remember the epic touchdown that led to the overtime. Something that was very rare, because normally I'm the one that has the screaming moments, but you actually channeled the screaming Michael Fletcher archives and went and gave us one of the biggest moments of our career, one of your careers.
Absolutely. Flacco going forward all, you did your old baby, and then when he caught it, you let out a wiggle, whoa, and then I'm like, caught. And then I said, touchdown, Baltimore, Jacoby Jones.
Yep.
And holy cow, are you kidding?
With a holy cow, are you kidding at the end? And I remember yelling unbelievable, a la Chris Collinsworth on that one. But, it is what it is. I do believe Joe Flacco could be that quarterback. Definitely a great addition to the team. No doubt about it. Like I said, you put a couple of defensive guys on that team. You put a couple of defensive stoppers there. Of course, with Von Miller, with the great defensive line that they already have. Denver will put themselves right back into the mix. But the problem is, Anthony, you already alluded to it. The wild card picture is going to be absolutely a complete and utter free-for-all this time around, because there's so many good teams in the AFC this time around that it's going to be so unfair. There's only 2 spots, and I could see at least there's at least a good probably 6-7 teams that could honestly have a legit shot at getting wild cards here. So it's going to be a complete and utter bloodbath this year. It's going to be chaos beyond belief. So AFC is going to be wild this year. More than other years, because like you said, in the West, it is a 2-horse race. It is going to be either the Chiefs or the Chargers, but that wild card, I think if the Chiefs gets it, the Chargers are going to get 1 spot. If the Chargers get it, then the Chiefs are probably going to get that spot. That means there's only 1 spot left, and I mean, I think Baltimore. Even though I think Baltimore is going to win the division, watch out for Pittsburgh. Watch out for Tennessee. Watch out for Indy. Watch out for Denver will probably be in the mix. I mean, I don't think AFC East. I don't think there's no teams coming out of the AFC East. I think it's the Patriots, and then I don't see Buffalo making a run. I don't see the Jets making a run. And Miami, I'm sorry guys, I don't see it this year. I think Miami's in a complete and utter rebuild. In the North, I think Baltimore is going to win the division. Then you got Pittsburgh, you got Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to make a run at the wild card this year. In the South, I mean, I think Houston's going to win it. Then you got Indy, you got Tennessee, maybe Jacksonville if they turn around and get a quarterback. If they get Nick Foles, look out. I mean, look out for Jacksonville, because there's rumors about Foles going to Jacksonville. If those rumors are true and Nick Foles lands in Jacksonville, that division becomes a toss-up. That division goes crazy. The AFC South will be the division you want to see next year if that happens. So who knows what will happen there. So like I said, there's probably 1 spot, and I just named how many teams? At least 7, 8? Get ready. It's going to be a wild 2019. I don't think the NFL could not have had a more fitting year to celebrate their 100th anniversary, because this could be one for the ages, to say the very least. Florio, it's yours.
For the ages, and without a doubt, when it comes to our coverage, get ready for a lot of new faces coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of great new teams that MF and I are looking forward to, putting together. So Yeah, it's going to be one for the ages. I mean, I cannot wait. I mean, 7 months from now cannot get here fast enough. So, unfortunately, one of the only things that I dread about, getting back to regulation strictly sports shows is talking about, those dreaded hard time stories. And unfortunately, we do have to get into one of those tonight. But there is a bit of a silver lining here. The announcement came last Friday, seemingly out of nowhere. Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid have settled their joint collision grievance with the NFL, ending with little fanfare, a case that has transcended the sport into the cultural debates of the country. So, MF, our long national nightmare when it comes to this nonsense is finally over. Praise God.
Well, I'm glad that it's over. I'm glad that Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid are both getting compensated handsomely for what they did because of the fact that they were, well, in Eric Reid's case, it wasn't. But in Colin Kaepernick's case, he was literally blackballed by the National Football League, and this was a complete and utter disgrace in my mind. I'm glad that he's getting the money he deserves, which is between $60 to $80 million, which is fair and without a doubt the right thing to do. What Colin Kaepernick did definitely put the ire and the microscope on the nation, on the NFL, and it really brought a lot of the discussion about social injustice and everything else. And let me just say this, and I'm going to be real honest with you. I've heard a lot of debate from both sides, and the way I felt is that I was with Kaepernick on a lot of issues. I understand his reasoning behind the police brutality to minorities because it happens a lot. The statistics are there about police brutality to minorities, African Americans, Latinos. It is clear as day. It is definitely there. It's a problem in America and probably a problem around the world. I totally agree with what he did. The thing that bothered me about what Colin did was taking the knee during the national anthem. I, for one, felt it was a little disrespectful. I understand why he did it, but I wasn't 1,000% for it. Ally with some other players, and I actually saw it firsthand when I went to see the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. 3 of the Dolphin players all took knees when I was at the stadium. I was definitely a little disappointed with them, but I understood why they did it. I respect why they did it. I understood why they fought for what they're fighting for, even though I wasn't 100% with them and I disagree with why they did it. I got it. I understand that a lot of things needed to be brought to the forefront, especially in minority areas and communities. And I think the NFL kind of got it right now, or they're trying to get it right by making more awareness of social issues and everything else. And I still believe that there's more work to be done. And that is my 2 cents on that. I think what Colin Kaepernick was trying to do was trying to say that, look, I want to be in the NFL. I want to play. Now, it's not because of the play. We could say, well, you You haven't been a great quarterback. You've made a lot of interceptions. You don't have a winning record, and this and that. Understandable. That's a fair assessment. But you don't know for sure if he was going to help your team or not. But you see guys like Nathan Peterman throwing 5 interceptions in one half for the Buffalo Bills. Don't you think the Buffalo Bills could have been better with Colin Kaepernick? Maybe, maybe not. Mark Sanchez with the Washington Redskins. Do you think he's better? Do you think that Kaepernick is better than him? Maybe, maybe not. We would never have known unless the team gave him an opportunity. But the problem was ownership and other organizations never did. And 2 owners almost blatantly, basically blackballed Colin Kaepernick. Blatantly did it. So, obviously there was collusion. It was definitely there. And he had a great case. And justifiably, instead of going through the process, going through the legal court, where a lot of stuff could have came out that would have literally tarnished the NFL to the core, the NFL decided, we got to get this out of the way now. Let's settle. Let's pay him out. And they paid him out really well, almost up to the level of some of the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL today. By giving them $60 to $80 million to say, just to end this, Kaepernick is probably in the top 5 of some of the top paid quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So, obviously, it's over. It's done with. But now all of a sudden, rumors have swirled that 2 teams has actually stepped forward and wants to sign Colin Kaepernick. You want to know who those 2 teams are? The Carolina Panthers and, get ready, Foxborough, the defending world champion, the New England Patriots, are talking about possibly bringing Kaepernick on. That is definitely interesting to hear. But with Carolina, Cam Newton is the starting quarterback, and maybe Kaepernick signs on as the backup. That would definitely be no problem. And with the Patriots, you just won your 6th Super Bowl, yet you don't know the status about Brady, even though Brady says he wants to go another year. But Kaepernick would be a heck of a backup. You know, maybe the heir apparent to Tom Brady. You never know. So, we'll have to wait and see. Anthony, it's all yours.
A long national nightmare finally over. Praise the Lord. You know me. Colin Kaepernick and, former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick and current Carolina Panthers safety Eric Reid reached a settlement with the NFL concerning the collision grievances against the league. For the past several months, counsel for Mr. Kaepernick and Mr. Reid have engaged in an ongoing dialogue with representatives of the NFL. Attorney Mark Geragos and the NFL said in a joint statement issued last Friday. As a result of those discussions, the parties have decided to resolve the pending grievances. The resolution of this matter is subject to a confidentiality agreement, so there will be no further comment by any party. Kaepernick filed a grievance in October 2017 under the collective bargaining agreement, alleging collision against signing into an NFL contract. The filing, which demanded an arbitration hearing on the matter, said the NFL and its owners have colluded to deprive Mr. Kaepernick of employment rights in retaliation for Mr. Kaepernick's leadership and advocacy for equality and social justice, and his bringing awareness to peculiar institutions still undermining racial equality in the United States. Commissioner Roger Goodell, several owners, and at least 2 other NFL executives were selected to be deposed and asked to turn over all cell phone records and emails in relation to Kaepernick's case against the league. Kaepernick drew national attention in 2016 when he knelt during the national anthem before games to protest social injustice. His kneeling led to a movement that had spread throughout the league while also being vilified by some, including President Donald Trump. Reed was the first player to join Kaepernick in kneeling during the national anthem to protest racial inequality and police brutality. Kaepernick has not been with an NFL team since severing his contract with the 49ers in March 2017. Reed, who played for the 49ers from 2013 to 17, signed with Carolina before the team's fourth game of last season and received a 3-year deal earlier in the week worth more than $22 million. Both men faced a difficult challenge to meet the burden of proof for collision as defined in the league's CBA. The statute makes clear that unemployment alone does not mean collision occurred. According to the CBA, the failure by a club or clubs to negotiate, to submit offer sheets, or to sign contracts with restricted free agents or transition players, or to negotiate, make offers, or sign contracts for the playing services of such players or unrestricted free agents shall not by itself or in combination only with evidence about the playing skills of the players not receiving any such offer or contract satisfy the burden of proof set forth. To prove collision, according to the CBA, Kaepernick and Reed would have had to show that a club, its employees, or agents had entered into an agreement to restrict or limit whether to offer them a contract. Kaepernick did not go through the NFLPA in filing the grievance, but instead hired Gallegos, who has represented several high-profile clients, including Michael Jackson, former NASCAR driver Jeremy Mayfield, and musician Chris Brown. The NFLPA offered Kaepernick its support and reiterated its readiness to assist him, as we do all players. The NFLPA last Friday said that while it did not know the details of the settlement, it supported the decision by Kaepernick and Reed. We continuously supported Colin and Eric from the start of their protests, participated with their lawyers throughout their legal proceedings, and were prepared to participate in the upcoming trial in pursuit of both truth and justice for what we believe the NFL and its clubs did to them, the statement said. We are glad that Eric has earned a job and a new contract, and we continue to hope that Colin gets his opportunity as well. So we all knew the story, and Ron Rivera said on the Carolina team website, we always knew he was a solid football player, and he showed it to us. Reed started the final 13 games last year, finishing with 73 tackles, 5 passes defensed, 1 interception, and 1 sack. He said he was drug tested 7 times last season. He implied that the tests were not random, as stated in the CBA. The NFL released a statement saying, I was not targeted, and I believe otherwise. Yeah, long national nightmare. You know, this went on and on and on and on. But at least it is finally over. Eric Reed can go back to Carolina. And yes, I have heard about the rumors of Colin Kaepernick possibly going to New England. I mean, I think he would make a great successor to Tom Brady. If Tom Brady decides to hang it up. Tom Brady says he wants to play at least 45. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But if and when Brady decides to hang it up and they do sign Kaepernick, I mean, that's another PR move. I mean, you know, the PR, I mean, that's going to be a big, big deal. Just like it was with Kareem Hunt in Cleveland. It doesn't matter where Kaepernick signs. If Kaepernick signs, whether it's New England or anywhere else, there's going to be a lot of baggage, without a doubt. The big question is, will that team be willing to, to deal with it? Will they be willing to, put up with it like the Cleveland Browns are doing with Kareem Hunt? We'll have to wait and see. But obviously Carolina is obviously dealing with Eric Reed. So, now that Reed got his deal, so we'll wait and see. But yes, as a man of the Lord, I completely understand why Colin Kaepernick did what he did. 100% supported it. I would have done the same thing. I mean, I am very much against, racism. I'm very much against brutality of any sort, whether it's police or what have you. all I can do right now as a man of the Lord is just, just to pray for both men, just to, and I especially have Colin Kaepernick in my prayers, and I pray that he will, get an opportunity again, because when he played, let me tell you, he was fun to watch. Let me tell you, those couple of great years in San Francisco, including that year where they went to the Super Bowl. I mean, he was the heart and soul of that team, and you know, it's a damn shame that this dragged on and on and on and on. But I'm just glad it's over, and hopefully now we can all move on from it, and hopefully, something will come out of it for Colin Kaepernick. Eric Reid's all set, but we just got to wait and see about Colin Kaepernick. So, all right, moving on now. We're going to move on to a much lighter note, a very much lighter note. Last weekend, of course, was NBA All-Star Weekend. It was, it started last Friday night. It started with the Rising Stars Challenge game with it used for the rookies, and it was USA against the world, and Team USA actually won the game by a score of 161 to 144, and Kyle Kuzma was selected as the game MVP. He had 35 points in that one. And then Saturday, All-Star Saturday night, skills challenge. I mean, what can you say about the skills challenge? I mean, you had Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, Nikola Vucevic of the Orlando Magic, Mike Conley Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies, Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics, De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings, Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks, Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks, and Kyle Kuzma of the Los Angeles Lakers. Jokic, Tatum, Young, and Doncic all moved on to the semis. Tatum beat Jokic, Young over Doncic, and then in the final, Jason Tatum over Trae Young. It looked like Trae Young was going to win it, but then Jason Tatum threw up a prayer of a half-court heave, and the prayer was answered. So Jason Tatum, the winner of the skills challenge. Then it was my favorite event of All-Star Weekend, in all honesty, the three-point shootout, the Mountain Dew three-point contest. And, ooh, oh boy, was this this was a beauty, let me tell you. You had Joe Harris, Kemba Walker, Chris Middleton, Seth Curry, Damian Lillard, Buddy Hield, Danny Green, Devin Booker, Dirk Nowitzki, and Stephen Curry. And when all was said and done, the winner of that, Joe Harris. Yes, Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets, winning the 2019 Mountain Dew three-point shootout. I got to tell you, when it comes to this particular All-Star Saturday, that was the best event of them all. It had Shakespearean drama at its finest, and I could not have been more delighted with how that event turned out. And then finally, the slam dunk contest. And the winner, well, let me just quickly go through. You had Hamidou Diallo of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Dennis Smith Jr. of the New York Knicks, Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets, and John Collins of the Atlanta Hawks. The winner was Hamidou Diallo. He knocked off Dennis Smith Jr. in the final. And Hamidou Diallo of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the winner of the slam dunk contest. Some of them were good, but others, yeah, not one of the better dunk contests, if I'm going to be honest. And then, of course, Sunday, the NBA All-Star Game that was held at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. You had Team LeBron James against Team Giannis Antetokounmpo, and when all was said and done, it was Team LeBron who picked up the win by a score of 178 to 164. And Kevin Durant of your back-to-back defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors was the MVP, 31 points to lead the way. And he was a member of Team LeBron. LeBron James, he had Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving as his starting lineup. The reserves were Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, LaMarcus Aldridge, Karl-Anthony Towns, Bradley Beal, and Dwayne Wade. Over on the other side, you had Giannis Antetokounmpo and his teammates, Joel Embiid, Paul George, Stephen Curry, Kemba Walker in the starting lineup. The reserves, Chris Middleton, his teammate in Milwaukee, Nikola Jokic, Russell Westbrook, Blake Griffin, D'Angelo Russell, Nikola Vucevic, Kyle Lowry, and Dirk Nowitzki. Team LeBron was coached by Michael Malone of the very surprising Denver Nuggets, and I'll tell you right now, they're very high up in my power rankings. And Mike Budenholzer, the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, I think the even more surprising Milwaukee Bucks. And you're not going to believe where I have them in the rankings, let me tell you. But nonetheless, another great, successful All-Star weekend. If I'm going to be honest with you, I've always looked more forward to All-Star Saturday night than the All-Star game itself, to be quite honest. It's just something about All-Star Saturday night that's just so fun to watch, especially that three-point shootout. And I was very much into that three-point shootout, and especially Joe Harris, an unknown coming out of nowhere, especially against all those super heavyweights like Stephen Curry and Devin Booker, a former winner, Dirk Nowitzki, who was on his farewell tour this year, who's going to be calling it a career after all these years. But man, just awesome. And then Jason Tatum winning the skills challenge the way he did with that half court Hail Mary. The prayer was answered. I mean, what a moment that was. The dunk contest, all I can say, it's lost its luster, I'm sorry to say. And I wasn't really feeling it. It was a bit of a snoozer, if I'm going to be honest with you. So that's really all I can say on that. So MF, come on in. All-Star game, All-Star weekend. I know Charlotte was a great host. And get this, next year, it's coming to Chicago next year. How about that?
Yes, it is. Well, first off, let's talk about it. The World versus USA game, I actually did not watch. I wasn't really interested in that game. Sorry. Normally the Friday events, I just don't follow it. It's kind of one of those things I just don't do. All-Star Saturday night, skills competition has gotten better, man. I gotta say it. I'm getting more intrigued year in and year out with the skills competition. I like it. I like what they do. Ever since they brought that to the format, I'm really enjoying that. As a part of All-Star Saturday night, I really like that kind of competition. I think it's getting better and better. I'm a little disappointed that they took away the that 3-on-3 competition where you're shooting the shots from like certain spots, and that at the end is the half court shot. I'm a little bummed out that they took that away now. So I really like that as well. 3-point shootouts become the signature event of All-Star Saturday night, no doubt about it. It was a great competition this time around. Yes, Anthony, I do agree. The slam dunk has kind of lost its luster, but hopefully next year they'll get it. There was some talk about some guys possibly getting in there, some bigger names to getting in there. I think we all remember a couple of years ago when they did, where it was Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, and their epic dunk off that they had, where both guys just went absolutely ballistic, had the whole internet just exploding, and literally had me falling out of my chairs a couple of times during that event. Like the crazy dunks that they were doing. But at the end of the day, yeah, All-Star weekend was pretty good. Nothing more to say. As far as the All-Star game goes, yeah, it was pretty good as well. So I got nothing more to say. Have a good night, yo. No, I should say have a good night, NBA and everything else. Let's get into the power rankings.
Yes, NBA power rankings here and now, and I got my rankings all set to go. So
go, you lead off then.
Yeah. So number 10, I'm gonna start it off with our good friend Al Braderson's team, the Utah Jazz. 6-4 in their last 10. They lost their last game, but they're on the verge of a big win here. 32-25 in that Northwest Division, that crowded Northwest Division. Looking up at 3 different teams, but it is what it is. So yeah, Utah. I mean, we haven't done these power rankings in a month. I mean, January the 18th was the last time we did the NBA power rankings, and what they've done lately. I mean, looking back, since then, I mean, they had a tough loss to Portland, and then they had a 3-game winning streak. Home wins over Denver and Minnesota, road win at Minnesota, swept a home-and-home series, and then they got beat down by the Blazers in Portland, and then a home win over Atlanta. They got beat down at home by the Houston Rockets. They had a 2-game winning streak with wins over the Phoenix Suns and the San Antonio Spurs, and then losing at Golden State. Tough loss for them against the 2-time champs. They got a big one at Oklahoma City right now. 124-121. They lead with under 2 minutes to go. They got Dallas coming in tomorrow, and then they got the Clippers coming in on Wednesday. And Thursday they go to Denver. And then they have home games against Milwaukee and New Orleans. And our next NBA power rankings, I believe, will be on March the 8th. So, yeah, Milwaukee, and then they got a home-and-home series with the New Orleans Pelicans, and then they go to Memphis, and then that'll get us to the next rankings. Good young team, Donovan Mitchell in that team. I mean, that's a solid young team that Al Braderson is rooting for. So they're doing some good things right now. So will they make it in? Will they make a postseason run? I don't know, but based on the body of work and the last 10 and all that, I think number 10 is the best spot for them as of now. So nothing more to say. Utah Jazz number 10. MF, how about it?
I agree. Number 10 is the Utah Jazz, no doubt about it. You absolutely are correct. Nothing more to add here, so I'm just going to dive into number 9. This one was pretty close. There was 2 teams that I saw, but I'm going to give number 9 to the Portland Trailblazers. 6-4 in the last 10 games, winners of 2 in a row, 35-23 overall. And, Portland's been pretty good. They've been all right. Damian Lillard and the team are definitely looking pretty well up to this point. And, with everything that they've been doing, they've scored 113 points per game, gives up about 110. Average rebounds, they get about 48 a game. Then on top of that, they've been they get an average rebound of 23 per game. Winners of 2 in a row, like I said, 24-8 at home. Their road record, not so great. A losing record, as a matter of fact. And their conference play, they're 7th overall, 20-19. And they're 5 games back in their division, even though they overall division-wise, they haven't played really great lately, as they've lost. As they're 4-8 against their divisional opponents in the Northwest. So not a really good stat, not a really good stat line, I should say. But they did get a big win. They've won the last 2 in a row, including a win. As a matter of fact, they knocked off where is it? All right, the last win was a 113-99 victory over the Gold against the Brooklyn Nets, and their next game is actually tomorrow afternoon as they go on the road to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia 76ers. Oh, by the way, who are also in the power rankings tonight. So nothing more to say. My number 9, the Portland Trail Blazers. Anthony, go.
Love that. Yep, I agree. But I forgot to mention with Utah, they're 13th in total rebounds, 16th in field goal percentage, 20th in points scored, and 22nd in three-point shooting. So, got to mention that. I agree. It is Portland at number 9, 35-23, third in that crowded Northwest division. All the top 4 teams in that division are in these rankings all tonight. The Blazers are third in rebounding, 7th in three-point shooting, 10th in points scored, and they're 13th in field goal percentage. So let's take a look at the work of the Blazers. Road win at Utah, road loss at Oklahoma City, road win at Phoenix, home wins over Atlanta and Utah. Then an embarrassing home loss to Miami, and then a nice home win over San Antonio, and then they had back-to-back losses at Dallas and Oklahoma City, and then a 129-107 win over Golden State. So, and then the Brooklyn win last night. They go to Philadelphia tomorrow. That's a big one right there. Maybe, well, I'm not going to say it's a finals preview, but you never know. 1977, those two teams met in the NBA Finals. Bill Walton led the Blazers over Dr. J and the Sixers, one of the great finals of all time. They're in the midst of a long road trip here, an East Coast road trip. They're 1-for-1 with that easy win over Brooklyn. Then they got to go to Philadelphia, and then you got an easy one at Cleveland Monday, big one on Wednesday in Boston against the Celtics, and then they got to go to Toronto, and then they got to go to Charlotte, and then they got to go to Memphis. Oh boy, they don't see a home game until March 7th. March 7th is their next home game, and that'll be against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yes, they're in these rankings as well. So a lot to take in there. MF nailed everything. So the Blazers come in at number 9. I agree 100%. So with that, let's move on to number 8. Number 8, the Philadelphia 76ers. Trust the process. 6-4 in their last 10. Winners of 2 in a row, but their record was better than Portland, so that's why we had to give Philly the benefit of the doubt. 38-21, second in the Atlantic Division, 5.5 out. Third in points scored, 4th in rebounds, 6th in field goal percentage, 8th in three-point shooting. They're out to prove that last year was no fluke. I mean, they had that magical year last year. They closed out winning, I believe, 17 in a row. And since our last rankings, tough home loss to OKC. Nice home wins over Houston and San Antonio. They got beat down by Denver on the road in Denver. They beat LeBron and the Lakers in LA. They went into Golden State and stole one from the Warriors. That's a big one right there. And then bad road loss at Sacramento, and then they lost at home to Toronto. Understandable. Nice home win over Denver. Easy home win over LeBron and the Lakers. A tough luck loss at home to Boston, and then they went into Madison Square Garden, beat up on the Knicks, and then they barely escaped Miami on Thursday. Portland coming in to tomorrow. That's a big one right there. Then they got to go to New Orleans on Monday, at OKC on Thursday night on TNT. You know how those games are. Next Saturday, they host the Golden State Warriors in the ABC Saturday night primetime game of the week. Maybe a finals preview. You don't know. It's very possible. And then they got Orlando coming in. Then they got to go to Chicago. And then they go to Houston. So another fun young team. Of course, we all know Trust the Process became a household name during their playoff run last year, which unfortunately was unceremoniously cut short by the Celtics in that second round series. So we'll see. I mean, Milwaukee may be the top dog in the East right now, but you never know. The West it's pretty much Golden State's to lose as always. But when it comes to the East, anybody could win it. You never know. And this team is definitely high on my list of teams that could represent the East in the finals. I don't know if they will, but we'll see. Philadelphia 76ers, number 8, MF, trust the process.
Been saying trust the process for a little while now, and I do believe in trusting the process. And yes, I do have Philadelphia at number 8 as well. You basically went through all the schematics, so I'm not gonna rehash it at all. So my number 7, I'm gonna stay in the Eastern Conference. I'm gonna go one step down. They're the number 5 seed right now in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics.
Yes.
My number 7. 37-22 on the season right now. Overall, they've scored 113 points in as a team. They give up about 106, average rebounding about 45 a game with 26 assists. They are really good at home at TD Garden. 23-8. They're 14-14 on the road. They are 27-11 against the Eastern Conference, which is 7.5 games back, and they are 10-3 when they play up against their divisional opponents in when they play against their opponents in the Atlantic Division. Of course, 7-3 in the last 10 games, and a heartbreaking loss last night, or I should say the other night, on Thursday night, 98-97, heartbreaking loss against the Milwaukee Bucks. Tough loss, to say the very least. However, they could rebound it. They play against the Chicago Bulls in Chicago this upcoming evening. That should be an easy win for the Boston Celtics, to say the very least. There's really nothing else to say for me. Number 7 is the Boston Celtics, and I believe, yes, Michael Bullock has arrived. So, Anthony, I toss it to you.
Yes, we have to catch him up and get him situated here. So I'm hoping that you can go rapid fire on this, Bullock, because there is quite a bit of some things to get into here. So Bullock, let's get your thoughts on Kyler Murray committing to the NFL real quick.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think he's just really committed more to playing in the NFL, and I think he could succeed as an NFL quarterback. The only question now is which team will he get drafted to? Who knows? So, not all that surprised about it. So let's just move right along.
How about Kareem Hunt signing with the Cleveland Browns?
I'm surprised that it did. That it happened so quickly. And look, we don't know when he's going to be back on the field. Obviously, he's got some. We don't know how long he's going to be suspended for. So I think the Cleveland Browns, they got to be ready for this, for whenever they know that he gets suspended for. So we'll just have to wait and see.
How about Joe Flacco getting traded to the Denver Broncos?
This, to me, was the first big surprise of the NFL offseason. This move here just goes to show you that the Ravens are committed to Lamar Jackson as their starting quarterback. And this is a big upgrade for the Denver Broncos over Case Keenum. So, obviously, this means, I think, that that Case Keenum could be on the move. The only question is, where will he go? So we'll just have to wait and see. So let's just move right along.
Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid, their collision case against the NFL finally settled.
Yeah, I'm glad this thing finally got settled. Of course, now the big question obviously is, well, we know Eric Reid. I mean, he went to the Carolina Panthers, but of course, everybody wants to know is where's Colin Kaepernick gonna go? That's the only big question here. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. I'm just gonna move right along.
Your thoughts on NBA All-Star Weekend, including your boy Jason Tatum of the Celtics winning that skills challenge.
Yeah, Jason Tatum to me, I mean, he looked really impressive in the skills challenge, and trying to remember who won that dunk contest.
I know everything else that happened. Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets winning the 3-point shootout, and Hamidou Diallo of the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the dunk contest, and then Team LeBron beating Team Giannis in the All-Star game.
Yeah, which is, of course, was another high-scoring game, literally with no defense. So,
of course.
Yeah, so it was okay, but nothing really special to write home about. So, yeah, so I'm just going to let you guys finish up the NBA power rankings. I'm sorry.
Yeah, NHL's next week. But anyways, we were actually talking about your team, Bullet, the Boston Celtics, because that's who we have right now. Number 7 in our respective NBA power rankings. Well, I was about to get into the Celtics on my end. So they're 5th in 3-point shooting, 10th in points scored, 13th in field goal percentage, and 14th in total rebounds. Since our last rankings, they had a road win over Atlanta, home wins over Miami and Cleveland, a tough loss to Golden State at home, and then home wins over Brooklyn and Charlotte, and then a road win in Madison Square Garden against the Knicks in New York, home win over OKC on Super Bowl Sunday. I remember, me and Bullock's dad watching the closing minutes of that game before the Super Bowl. That was pretty cool. And then they had a road win in Cleveland, a tough home loss to the Lakers, and then they also lost at home to the Clippers. And then a hard-fought road win at Philadelphia, hard-fought home win over Detroit, and then that tough loss to Milwaukee Thursday. They're at Chicago tonight, and then they got a big one in Toronto on Tuesday. That's a big one right there. And then they got another tough one, Portland coming in. And then you got Washington coming in next week, next Friday. And then Saturday, March 3rd, ABC Sunday afternoon game of the week at home against the Houston Rockets. And then they got to go to Golden State on Tuesday the 5th. And then and then it begins a West Coast road trip, a 4-game West Coast road trip at Golden State, and then at Sacramento March 6th. And then it culminates in Los Angeles against the Lakers and the Clippers. The Laker game, Saturday, March 9th, the ABC Saturday night game of the week. So that's a big one there. So, yes, Jason Tatum, of course, winning the skills challenge. And that's the Celtics' big moment from All-Star Weekend. So, yeah. So, throughout their history, they've always been a better home team than a road team. I'll be honest with you. So, I'm not surprised that they're doing well in the Garden this year, 23-8. So we'll see what happens. Boston, definitely one of those teams in the East that we have to keep an eye on. I mean, it's wide open in the East. The West is Golden State's to lose, although they do have some new guests coming to that dinner table. So we'll see how that goes. But Celtics, number 7. Let's move on to number 6. One of the surprise teams in the league this year. How about the Indiana Pacers? Indiana Pacers coming in at number 6, 39-20. Second in the Central Division, looking up at Milwaukee, 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 1 in a row. That's why I had to give them the benefit of the doubt over Boston. 3rd in field goal percentage, 5th in 3-point shooting, but they got to work on points scored. They're 22nd, and they got to work on the rebounding. They're 24th. So this a fun young team here. since our last rankings, home wins over Dallas, Charlotte, and Toronto. And then they had a long losing streak, losing at Memphis, at home to Golden State. They got beat down by Golden State at home. And then road losses and then they lost at Washington, lost at Orlando, and then stopped the bleeding with a road win over Miami. But since then, though, they did have a 6-game winning streak recently with road wins in Miami and New Orleans, home wins over the Lakers and Clippers, Cleveland and Charlotte, and then a tough home loss to Milwaukee, and then an easy win at home over New Orleans tonight, 126-111. At Washington tonight. They're at Detroit on Monday, at Dallas on Wednesday, home to Minnesota on Thursday, and then they have Orlando coming in next Saturday, and then they have Chicago coming in March 5th, and then March 7th they're at Milwaukee. So yeah, fun young team here without a doubt. So this could be a dark horse in the East, really could. So they've only been to the finals once. That was the year 2000 when they had that super team, with Reggie Miller and Jalen Rose and Antonio Davis, and how fun that team was to watch. So we'll see what happens. So number 6, Indiana Pacers. So MF, I mean, like I said, wide open East. Indiana could definitely make some noise if all goes well. MF? Did you forget to unmute your mic again? I don't know where MF is. Okay. But Indiana Pacers, number 6, no doubt about it. I don't know if he agrees with me on that or not. I don't know if he got sidetracked or where he is, but hopefully MF will come back in soon enough, and then we can, get the ball rolling here and finish up these rankings. So, all right. So while we wait for MF, I'll just dive in. Just keep on going. To a very surprising team at number 5. To me, one of my 2 big surprises in the NBA this year. Give it up for the Denver Nuggets. I mean, second best record in the Western Conference, 40-18, 7-3 in their last 10, winners of 3 in a row. They lead the Northwest Division. As of now, they would be the number 2 seed in the Western Conference behind Golden State. They're 8th in field goal percentage, 9th in total rebounds, 10th in three-point shooting, 13th in points scored. I am loving this team's body of work right now. They did have a rough stretch, but we'll get into that in a minute. Since our last rankings, home win over Cleveland, road loss at Utah, tough one. And then they had a nice little streak going. Home wins over Phoenix and Philadelphia, road wins at Memphis and New Orleans. An impressive home win over Houston, a road win at Minnesota, and then they did have their only hiccup was a 3-game losing streak. All road losses. They lost at Detroit, at Brooklyn, and at Philadelphia, and then home wins over Miami and Sacramento, and then a nice road win in Dallas tonight. They got the Clippers coming in on Sunday, and then they got Oklahoma City coming in on Tuesday, Utah coming in on Thursday, New Orleans coming in next Saturday, March 2nd, and then Monday, March 4th, they go to San Antonio. And then they go to the Lakers on the 6th, and then Friday the 8th, they're at Golden State. So pretty tough schedule coming up for the Denver Nuggets. I mean, they are, to me, one of the 2 biggest surprises in the NBA this year. I could probably say they're the biggest surprise in the NBA because, I mean, I did not expect this team to do anything. But for them to have the second best record in the Western Conference at this point, I would have said you're crazy. This team hasn't been relevant in years. And now this team, this team could actually end up being a threat to Golden State in the West. You never know. So that's it. So Denver Nuggets are at number 5. I don't know if MF's ready to go yet. Hopefully he's ready to go now. So get him back.
All right, I'm back. I'm
okay.
back.
Yep. All right. I had Indiana, had the Indiana Pacers at number 6 and the Denver Nuggets at number 5.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not gonna argue there. I definitely agree with what you had there. Indiana Pacers, yes, they have been really good lately. So has the Denver Nuggets. They've been really good lately. So no arguments there. I totally agree with everything that you've gotten up to this point. Number 4, nope, not Golden State Warriors. They're actually in the top 3. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are my number 4. 37-20. 4.5 games out. Conference record 21-15. Divisional record 5-4. 20-7 at home. 17-13 on the road. 8-2 in the last 10 games. There was a loss. I don't know who they lost to. I guess I'll find that out right now. So just give me one moment. And then the other things that you want to keep a look at is their stats and numbers. They score about 115 points per game, gives up about 110 points per game. Their rebounding per game is 48. Their average assists per game is 23.4. They actually lost to the New Orleans Pelicans 131-120, and boy, are they in a dogfight right now. We're in overtime. 5-star classic, 139 with the Utah Jazz, the same aforementioned Utah Jazz Anthony Floyd was talking about earlier. So yeah, this is turning into quite a night. So nothing more to say. Number 4, Oklahoma City Thunder. Florio, I believe you got that as well.
Yes, I do. Oklahoma City Thunder, 37-20, 8-2 in their last 10, lost their last one. They're second in total rebounds. They're 5th in points scored, rather. 13th in 3-point shooting. They are 15th in field goal percentage. Since our last rankings, they had a long winning streak. Road wins at Philadelphia and New York. Home wins over Portland, New Orleans, and Milwaukee. A road win at Orlando. That's about 6 in a row. They had a 7-game winning streak. And then they won at Miami. Their winning streak was snapped by the Boston Celtics in Boston on Super Bowl Sunday. And then they followed that up with a 4-game winning streak. Home wins over Orlando and Memphis. Nice road win at Houston. A nice home win over Portland. A tough loss at New Orleans. And then, of course, right now, the 5-star shootout with Utah right now. Games on ESPN, if you're wondering. Sacramento coming in tonight. And then they got a big one at Denver on Tuesday. And then they got another tough one at home against Philadelphia Thursday. And then they got to go to San Antonio next Saturday. Next Sunday, March 3rd, they're home to Memphis. And then they got to go to Minnesota, at Portland, and then at the Clippers, and that'll get us to the next rankings. So Russell Westbrook and company looking good. So nothing more to say there. So now we move on to the top 3. And at number 3, your back-to-back 2-time reigning, defending, undisputed NBA champion Golden State Warriors. They're at number 3. Best record in the West, 42-16. 8-2 in their last 10. Won their last game. They lead the league in field goal percentage. Lead the league in points scored. What else is new? 3rd in 3-point shooting percentage. And they're 8th in total rebounds. I mean, Steve Kerr and his guys, what can you say about them? I mean, their dynasty continues. Since our last rankings, road wins at the Clippers and Lakers. Well, actually, they had 5 straight road wins. They had a very long winning streak. They had a 3 and 4, that's 7, 8, 9, 10. They had an 11-game winning streak to start the year. 5 of those since our last rankings. All on the road, at the Clippers, at the Lakers, at Washington, at Boston, at Indiana. That streak was snapped with a home loss to Philadelphia. And then they got red hot again. They had 5 more wins in a row Home wins over the Lakers in San Antonio, road win at Phoenix, home wins over Miami and Utah, lost at Portland, and then they barely got by Sacramento last night. Huge game, the ABC Saturday night game of the week. They'll be on that for the next 2 weeks. Tonight, they'll be hosting the Houston Rockets. And then they have easy games at Charlotte, at Miami, at Orlando. And then next Saturday night, their next tough game, they got to go to Philadelphia. Ooh, maybe a finals preview. You don't know. And then they got Boston coming in March 5th. And then huge game March 8th. Power ranking implications, Western Conference implications. Denver comes in a battle of the two best teams in the West, Denver and Golden State, ESPN in a couple of weeks, March 8th. So, champs picking up right where they left off. So could we see a three-peat? It's very possible. I wouldn't be surprised. If they do it, it'll be 3 in a row. And alive, I believe it would be 4 out of the last 5. Last time I checked, that was a dynasty. So, heck, they already are a dynasty. They could cement that if they go all the way again this year. So, nothing more to say. Golden State Warriors number 3. MF, I mean, what are their chances of a three-peat?
It's very possible. Very good. They got a great chance at a three-peat. They would be in the same conversation with the Lakers of the Kobe and Shaq era, the Jordan and Pippen, and the 6 and 8 for the Bulls. Then you got to go way back to the day with the Magic Lakers, the Bird Celtics, and then Havlicek, Kuzi, Auerbach, and and the great Celtic teams of yesteryear, and how dominating they were back in the day. So yeah, no doubt about it. If they do it, they would be another dynasty. You even talk about the San Antonio Spurs and how many and the 5 championships they won in their history. So with the Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan era. So I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's a few teams out there that would be So at the end of the day, yeah, number 3 is the Golden State Warriors. I'm not gonna argue that. Number 2, right now, I gotta say it would be the Milwaukee Bucks. I think they are number 2 in these power rankings. Well, actually, no. Stop. Hold.
Yeah. You caught it.
I caught it, but do I want to do it? Because of the fact that this other team's got a bigger winning streak.
I know.
And they're right there. Oh, God, this is tough. Oh, man, I just saw the dilemma. Oh, do I pull the trigger and give it to Toronto, though? Oh, I got to see. Hold. I'm going to have to hold. I know. Toronto won 7 in a row. They're 8-2 in the last 10. Milwaukee's 9-1 in the last 10. Winners of 3 in a row. They're both right there. No, I gotta say Toronto.
Yes.
I wanted to give it to Milwaukee. I wanted to say Milwaukee too. I wanted to give Toronto the number 1 spot, but I can't do it. It's so close. It's like it's only because of 2 more losses. If it wasn't for that, I think I would have given it to Toronto.
Yeah.
No, I got to do it. Toronto number 2. Sorry, guys. I was looking at it. I saw the streak 7 in a row. I'm like, oh, but that's good. But then there's the 8-2. I was like, oh, this is so tough. No, I got to go with the Raptors at number 2. I was trying to find the point where I could make the jump for it, jump the shark. I can't do it. Toronto Raptors number 2. Oh, that stinks. Anthony, go.
I know it's hard, but we're all about the numbers and the stats, especially me. So, yes, you got it. I mean, I know you're reluctant, but
yeah.
Toronto Raptors number 2, 44-16. Percentage points behind the Milwaukee Bucks for the best record in the East. 44-16, 8-2 in their last 10, winners of 7 in a row, leaders of the Atlantic Division. Currently, they would be the number 2 seed in the East. Looking up at Milwaukee, who would have thunk that? 6th in points scored, 10th in field goal percentage, 14th in total rebounds, and then 22nd in the 3-point shooting. And yeah, I understand MF's dilemma, but 9-1 is better than 8-2 last time I checked. So since our last rankings, home wins over Memphis and Sacramento, road losses at Indiana and Houston, road win at Dallas, home loss to Milwaukee, understandable, all of it. And then the 7-game winning streak, which started on Super Bowl Sunday with a home win over the Clippers, and then road wins at Philadelphia, at Atlanta, and at New York, and home wins over Brooklyn, Washington, and tonight, San Antonio. They host Orlando on Sunday, easy win. And then they got a tough one at home on Tuesday. They got the Boston Celtics coming in. That's a big one. Portland coming in on Thursday. And then they got to go to Detroit next Saturday. Or I should say next Sunday, rather. And then they host Houston March 5th. And then they go to New Orleans on March 8th. So, yeah. So, all those trades that they made with San Antonio definitely paying dividends. I mean, they are one of the teams to beat in the East, without a doubt. Could this finally be the year that the Toronto Raptors will finally make it to the promised land of the NBA Finals? Very good chance. We'll see. Number 1, the biggest surprise, no question about it. We said there was going to be a surprise number 1. Well, I think we all know who it is now. The Milwaukee Bucks. Who would have thunk the Milwaukee Bucks would be number 1 in our power rankings at any time? By percentage points, the best record in the Eastern Conference, 44-14, 9-1 in their last 10 games, winners of 3 in a row. They lead the league in rebounds. They're 2nd in field goal percentage. They're 2nd in points scored. The only downside is they got to work on the 3-point shooting. They're 18th in that. But other than that, man, has this team been such a surprise this year. I did not see this team being this good. I thought they were going to be in the conversation at least, but now possibly one of the favorites to come out of the East. I mean, they haven't been to the finals in, 46, 47 years? I mean, I think 1971 was the year they won it all. They haven't been to the finals since 74. That's right. 74, they got to the finals, but they lost to the Celtics, back when they had Kareem. So, but anywho, since our last rankings, they were in the midst of a 6-game winning streak. The second half of that, road win at Orlando, home wins over Dallas and Charlotte, tough road loss at Oklahoma City, road wins over Detroit and Toronto, and then a road win at Washington and a road win at Brooklyn, home win over Washington, road win at Dallas, an embarrassing home loss to Orlando, but then easy road win at Chicago, and then a hard-fought road win at Indiana, and then last night, what a great game against Boston. That could be a second-round playoff matchup, maybe even an Eastern Conference Finals matchup. You don't know. Minnesota coming in tonight, at Chicago Monday, at Sacramento Wednesday, at the Lakers next Friday, ESPN. That's a big one right there. And then they got to go to Utah next Saturday. And then they got to go to Phoenix March 4th. And then they got Indiana coming in on the 7th, and that's the rankings. So Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton, the dynamic duo, they're the 2 guys who are getting it done from Milwaukee. Their coach, Budenholzer, without a doubt, he is my front runner for Coach of the Year, although Coach Malone in Denver, definitely my other front runner, because they are, without question, the 2 biggest surprises in the NBA this year. So nothing more to say on that. Milwaukee Bucks, number 1. MF, I mean, does this team have what it takes to get to the finals for the first time in 45 years?
And do they have a chance? We're going to have to wait and see. But, man, they look good. They've been playing great. They've been unbelievable all season long. If they don't make the finals, man, that would be a letdown with the team that they have, with everything that's going on right now. Giannis, if right now an MVP candidate in my mind.
Amen.
The way they've been playing has been unbelievable. The only team that could probably trip them up would probably be Toronto right now.
Yes.
I think right now it's a neck and neck race. I think Toronto. I could see. I think it's down to Toronto and Milwaukee. I think one of these two is going to the finals to play against the Western Conference representative. I don't think Indiana has. I don't think they have enough to get there. Philly, if they could put the pieces together, maybe they make a run. Boston, I don't see it with them either. I mean, everything else is all we're just gonna have to wait and see where the chips fall where they may, because it's been nothing but absolute chaos this year, to say the very least, in the NBA. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Number one is the Milwaukee Bucks, and Anthony, let's put a bow on this show.
Yes, indeed. This edition of Strictly Sports has come to a conclusion. We want to thank you all so very much for listening and tuning in this evening. Michael Bullock, if you're still with us, let's get you in here, and let's get into your quick shout outs, and then we'll go from there. But I got a feeling we probably lost him, because I mean, he had a family he had a commitment that he had to take care of. So yeah, I think Bullock's probably down for the count here. So MF, let's get your quick shout outs, and then I'll set up some very exciting future content coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there for making the show as amazing as it is. You guys are the best fans in the world. You guys already know that. To my friends in the junior high and high school days, love you to death. 2184 crew, you guys are awesome. And that is it. So until then, have a good night, everybody. Mike Fletcher, Hug the Hand Pounds. I'm out. Have a good night. Anthony, go ahead. Give us the great content.
Yes, and stick around, MF, because we got some exciting content here. So before I get into that, of course, all of our special shout outs here. Of course, special shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family. Our insiders, Matt Ward and Jason Hicksonbaugh, along with Daniel Luttrell from the UK. Our first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. The other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Alvarado, and Rob Parsons. And, of course, the man himself who puts it all together, Derek Ferreira. 6, 10, and 12 are personalities from there. ESPN, FS1, MLB Network, NBA TV, NHL Network, NFL Network. Lindsay McCormick, State of Sorrel. Our friends from The Road Show, who's celebrating 10 years on the air. Very impressive. Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, along with Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. And, of course, my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street, Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning at 9, Bible study. 10:30 Sunday morning service. And Wednesday night at 7, Bible study. Other things going on. So looking forward to that. And then, of course, that'll do it for that. So, okay. We'll next be with you Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. And let me tell you right now, Monday Night Raw has just turned into a loaded show. I mean, we already had Ric Flair's 70th birthday celebration, but then the news broke out today or late last night that the big dog, Roman Reigns, is going to be on Raw Monday night to address his health. And, we'll wait and see how that goes. We're praying it's good news. And then, of course, my recaps of 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And then, of course, we have Tuesday night, as of now, the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on Brace Fan 95. Rundown SmackDown Live. And then, of course, if MF has anything as Mikey's Mindset, we'll get into that. And then next Friday night, Strictly Sports, NHL Power Rankings. That's all I know. So we'll see what Derek has in store for us next week. I know he'll have the docket out late Monday night prior to Ridiculously Raw. So there you go. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Floyer here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, Dee Woodson and Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.